Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
And do we have fiery news today? So yesterday, Gina Carano posted up on X that she is filing a lawsuit against Disney Lucasfilm for her wrongful termination / discrimination, as she puts it. Crazy that someone's actually taking this case on, and it's all because of something Elon Musk posted. This was months ago. He posted a tweet saying that if you were fired or discriminated against because of a tweet or a post you put up on X, he would fight for you. He would financially...
legal representation.
He's going to get you some legal representation. And she kind of was like, okay, no one's going to take on Lucasfilm, but she responded anyway.
Well, if anybody would take on Disney, it would be...
It would be
Elon
him.
Musk. He recently had some rather choice words for Bob Iger and Disney. Yeah.
And then they responded back to her, talking to her, and decided, yeah, let's go for this. So she's officially in a lawsuit now, filed in California in a federal court, alleging wrongful termination and discrimination, as well as demand that the court should force Lucasfilm to recast her and pay her at least $75,000 in punitive damages.
That last part is curious. I mean, how can you
recast as in take her back?
Well,
right?
I understand what the word means, yes.
Well, usually if we say they're recasting, it means we're replacing.
Yeah,
I think
you're
they
right.
actually mean taking her back.
Yeah, but would you, for one, would you actually want to go back? For two, would you, trust what they're going to do with your character henceforth?
It's better than her desk job. We don't even know what happened anymore.
I'm not saying it,
right.
If you're pure story, right? Like, sure, you can want to know what happens to, whether you're like Gina Carano or not, you can be curious about Cara Dune, right? I'm just saying, if you're Disney or Lucasfilm, whatever you want to call it, and you're forced to hire her back, it's not like you're exactly going to give her the best, writing necessarily, or best story.
Cara Dune is now a villain. She does horrible things.
Yeah, you could turn, exactly what I'm kind of getting at. You could turn her character into something despicable or...
But it's weird because they'd have to do that properly because they're in a weird situation right now that they're making things people aren't happy with and that will lose them money. So bringing her back is something people were chanting for the moment she was fired.
Well, somewhere. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Depending on what side you fall on is kind of determines if you want her back or are glad she was fired.
Right.
Which is kind of what led to the problem in the first place, right? She said something one side didn't like and the other side liked, so she got fired. Seems a little sketchy to get fired over a post on X.
Right, because, they warn you of that in regular jobs now.
Yeah, it's...
That, oh, well, you posted some hateful stuff online, my company doesn't want you.
Which, it's a gray area, right? I mean,
it is.
A company should have the right to fire someone who says something that they, may go against their company's ethical standard, whatever it might be, right? But on the other hand, you're just publicly saying something that you believe, which doesn't necessarily reflect on your company. So it's, I think it's a tricky subject, don't get me wrong.
You don't want a Satan worshiper working at Hobby Lobby?
Well, that's kind of an extreme example because Hobby Lobby is obviously...
They're closed on Sundays.
Yes, which tells you pretty much everything you need to know about Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A, two places you can't go on Sundays. My dream someday would go to Hobby Lobby, do some shopping, and then eat at Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
Why is it your dream? Why do you want them to...
Because it's, taboo.
No, Hobby Lobby has the right to close on Sunday for religious reasons. I'm absolutely...
Any business does, yeah.
For that. As I think they would have the right to, if someone was an open Satan worshiper, seems to kind of conflict with the company interest,
with their
right?
Company interest, company morals, their image.
Yes. So, but at the same time, if they go to their job every day and aren't, telling the customer, Hail Satan every time they buy something, quietly, and they're just doing their job, and at home they post on X that, they have these beliefs, it's a hard thing, I think.
It's very weird in the terms of actors, though, because they turn into kind of like a public figure in a sense.
Exactly. We're not talking about Joe, down at Hobby Lobby who happened to worship Satan and got fired. We're talking about,
He's playing D&D.
God, yeah, back in the 80s, anybody who played D&D was worshiping Satan. But
all actors share their opinions on social media.
Now more than ever.
More than ever, whether they're in the current majority, they're in the vocal minority,
Well, you feel like there's, let's be real, most actors tend to side,
wasn't there
one way.
A long point in time where everyone hated on Chris Pratt?
Yeah, because he's very,
But no companies fired him.
No, didn't they have that thing, the least favorite Chris or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Battle of the Chris's or something.
Yeah, and everybody hated Chris Pratt because of his religious beliefs, or he was associated with some church. I don't know what it was exactly. I'm sorry. I'm sure a lot of you remember what I'm talking about. So
every actor pretty much has to have a social media presence, like a requirement these days. And they post what their opinions are, what their beliefs are. Part of me thinks that they maybe are, in terms, lobbying for political figures and stuff sometimes, because they want people to obviously vote the way they feel, and they post it, and some people do vote the way they feel. Gina Carano, I do feel like she was kind of wronged. Because
she made one. I mean, I know there were a couple other things she did, but it was mainly the one post. It showed children beating up like a woman in the streets of
because
Nazi
they're saying
Germany,
like, I don't know how much you can say on.
I don't know. I just said
on YouTube, so I'll just say one group of individuals were beaten in the streets.
I kind of used
not
that
by
group,
the N-word soldiers.
Careful.
The bad N-word.
The other careful.
The bad
I already
one.
said the
German
N-word.
one.
I said the N-word already. You may have missed it. Yes.
Yes, you're saying one religious group of people were beaten in the streets, not just by German N-word soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children.
Yes. The point she was trying...
Yeah, because history is edited. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where these Germans could easily round up thousands of people, like their neighbors turned them in.
Yeah, that's the point she was trying to make. Like, you can get to the... You wouldn't think it's possible that you would get to the point where you would call to have your neighbor basically taken away.
Yeah.
But we get to that point. We've gotten to that point, so it can happen again.
She was comparing it to how is it different than hating people for their political views and, like, canceling them.
Yes.
Yes, one is clearly more extreme.
Clearly, yes.
But it's like a virtual
It may not have been the best way to make your point, but it certainly made the point, especially when she then kind of got ushered away, right? Not obviously in that respect, but she kind of got canceled, right?
Immediately
she got
after
shut
that,
down, yes.
Yeah.
So in a way, she made her point.
The same day as the post, Lucasfilm and her agency, they all dropped her.
Which, yeah.
Yeah. That tells you something. While the lawsuit is interesting because it includes several apparent elaborate Star Wars references, it says that Disney and Lucasfilm made it clear that only one orthodoxy in thought, speech, or action was acceptable in their empire, and that those who dared to question or failed to fully comply would not be tolerated. Gina also pointed out other social media posts from other actors. Because remember, she also said discrimination.
Yes.
She pointed out that, like, Pedro Pascal and Mark Hamill were posting some interesting things on social media as well, comparing Donald Trump and his supporters to the leader of those German soldiers, as well as more German soldiers.
I love why we tiptoeing
as acts
around
of discrimination.
Yes.
That they turned a blind eye to her male co-stars making political statements with no financial, professional, no repercussions at all.
If I recall, Pedro made a post like losers in 1865 referring to the Confederacy, losers in the 1940s referring to your N-word German soldiers,
well, and
then losers today referring to Trump supporters, yes.
Like, all of the actors do it. I mean, wasn't a social media post, but Disney was fine with letting Fiona Shaw do an interview where she said that Andor and the brutality is talking about
Trump's America.
America. Well, that's an opinion.
Well, certainly, because if you watch the show, like, you don't necessarily like, oh yeah, I see that parallel. Exactly.
Right.
It was her interpretation of it, and we even had Tony Gilroy said, no, I'm not really
going for
any particular point
like
in time or any specific person. It's kind of a general, fascism bad kind of statement, which
fascism bad.
I think we mostly agree with that. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. I don't know when this case is going to get started. I don't know when it's going to court, but I'm very, very curious. As how this is going to go, because I mean, the last I knew, Gina Carano had partnered with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, the Daily Wire and all that. I think she made a movie, like a Western or something. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, she did that interview with Ben Shapiro, and then they had a collaboration and all that. But no, this is certainly interesting because I think, look, whatever you think about it, whether you're against or for Gina Carano and what she said, there's a bigger issue here. Like, where does that company's right to terminate someone who doesn't think the way they're quote unquote supposed to, where does that begin and end? Because because you post something on Twitter, does that mean, or X, does that mean you should be fired for your beliefs? I mean, especially if those beliefs are are very anti what your company believes.
Right. It's the world we live in. Social media became bigger and bigger throughout the years, and
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's policed now just as anything else is, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the point is, like, should it be like how much freedom should you have on X? Obviously, Elon Musk is very pro. You get to say what you want to say, and
Because it's in our Constitution.
Well, it's in our Constitution, yeah.
Specifically, our Constitution
And
says you should be able to say what you want to say.
Not every country on this earth has the freedom of speech, yeah.
Of course, they would turn around and say, you can say what you want to say. You also have to face the repercussions of other people having to hear what you wanted to say.
Well, that's generally the counter argument to freedom of speech. Yeah, you have the right to say what you want, but you're not free from the consequences of saying that. Sure, well, yeah.
It'll be interesting in any case, and it is something I'm very interested in, just in general, to see what happens with this. Will she win? I mean, you're going against Disney. That's so hard. I just don't know how this will turn out.
If she's got
is
the
this just going to be
Musk
versus Iger?
It feels like a proxy war or something.
Yeah, like this war is standing up for something else, and we just don't all see it.
Well, I think we see it, right? I mean, it's more than just one woman suing a giant corporation, right? There's as I've been kind of saying, like there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of precedents to be set here.
Right. This is going to change things. If she can win a case like this, I mean, then you'll see others come forward.
Yeah.
This very well could shape part of history coming along.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, as you were saying before, like, once upon a time, it was kind of impossible for the common person. Let's say, not that she's a common person, but even for a celebrity, it wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world to put your, like, opinions out there or your beliefs out there. Like, social media has changed that. It gives every single person on the planet Earth a means by which to at least put it out there in the ether and have some people see it, and maybe a lot of people, maybe millions or billions of people to see it, right?
Well, part of me wonders also if Elon Musk is partially doing this for Gina as a way to get back at Disney because they all stopped advertising last November.
I certainly think that's...
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot more to it, I think. I mean,
think
there are
there's
rumors
more,
out there of Elon trying to purchase Disney or play a role in the purchase of Disney or the leadership of Disney.
A big share block.
Yes. So, who the heck knows?
Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know either, and that's where we'll leave it for now. So now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you make of any and all of this, and let's talk some Star Wars and some Disney and some legal precedents. And until next time, thanks for watching.